Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. I'm your host Mike, and with me on my panel today, well, I've got Joe. That's the panel. It's Joe by himself. In this episode, we're going to be covering the win against Macclesfield, Maidenhead even, and we're going to look forward to the cash only likely to succumb to the weather trip to Halifax. We love hearing from you. Obviously, I say this every week. Keep the engagement up, keep the thumbs up going. All the little likes, shares are really, really good, and they help the algorithm get it in other people's faces. So don't suffer alone. Joe, I saw you yesterday. Everyone saw you yesterday because you video bombed me. But how have you been?
I know it's everyone's dream to have me as the only panelist, so you're all lucky. Yeah, I'm very good, Mike. Was on National League TV comms yesterday. Which was an enjoyable experience. Been doing more stuff for the media team over the last few weeks. So yeah, been a good few weeks since I've been on. But
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you didn't get the link earlier, but I'll ask you this question, the knowing me, knowing you question anyway. I've got a horrible feeling you might have said something similar last time you were on, but the question is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever had about being a football fan? So, wearing two socks in winter, anything like that. Just what's the best piece of advice that you can think of on the spot?
Okay. Right. You know what? It's actually going to be from yesterday. I misjudged the weather completely, as I feel a lot of people did. For those obviously who weren't at the game, it was very cold in Sutton yesterday. When I say cold, it was surprisingly cold for. I mean, it is mid-November, but I don't know. It felt like it could be a start of January day. And the place where you do commentary from, the new gantry, unfortunately, because we're up high, firstly it's colder, and secondly, there's a kind of a gap at the front and the back of the gantry, so the wind just is directed directly at your back. And me and Cameron, we could have been on Strictly Come Dancing that second half, because we were two-stepping, we were three-stepping, we were doing all the dances, just trying to keep our limbs moving. And there was one point where I thought I'd turned off my mic. Cameron just turned to me and said, "If you hear that blowing, that's Joe just trying to keep his feet and his fingers on," because I was like, my hand was coming to claw on the mic. So my advice would be, if in doubt, bring an extra layer. This is my new rule, and I'm going to stick to it.
Well, we chatted briefly at the end of the match about this very thing. It was a decision because obviously it's mid-November. If I start layering up too much, I've got nowhere to go for January, because I know it gets cold over there in January. So
we won't make it to January, right? We'll get hypothermia, and then they'll be like, "What happened to Joe when he tried the strategy of layering up individually and never made it to December?"
Well, the heated gilet is probably going to get its way back out again soon.
I need the heated gilet.
Yeah, love it. Right, so give us your thoughts. Best piece of advice for or from a football fan that you've ever heard. Let us know your thoughts. Club news, it's really only the ladies' side. They unfortunately lost to Ebbsfleet today, 1-0, which isn't bad considering we didn't actually have a goalkeeper. So whilst we lost, it's not as bad as it could have been. So well done for keeping it safe, ladies. And there were chances to win that game as well. On to the game. So before the game, what were your expectations? What was your thoughts? And were you worried about what kind of team we were actually going to be able to put out with the injuries and international call-up?
Well, I think Jaden Harris is a very unfortunate injury. It's a big blow. But I saw the Jack Warden recall from Worthing as a thing from Steve to say, look, he's going to... I don't think you recall someone just to have them play backup.
Yeah.
You have them to make a difference. And Simpa's out. And Simpa, De Silva, Ransom was on the bench, but then there's obviously... I don't think he's fully fit yet. Jacko's still making his way back. And then you've got a few others who I can't think of. Well, Edwin, who went off last week and all that. And I've because we've tinkered with lots of different formations this season, I've thought for a while that we need to change something, just the way the balance, because either we're too attacking, we're shedding space in the back, or we're too defensive and there's too much of a gap between our back line and our forward line. So I think this 3 at the back works quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even 3 at the back in essence, because the 2 on the left and the right, they push up and kind of play just off the shoulders of kind of the wing back / wingers. So it ends up kind of being 1 at the back at all times with a flexibility, which is actually, it's still very attacking as Steve would want, but it gives us that defensive security. So I thought there would be a bit of a tactical change. I thought we were good at Rochdale, but I watched it back and I was like, there is still too much space where they could play. And I know that Rochdale are a better team than Maidenhead, but, you know, we're going on to the game later. We've kind of seemed to address that slightly. But I thought the team, we've started to find a kind of base core of the team that Steve wants to play. Sims in goal, Davies, Nadazan, Coley, Sivi. And then it's all a little bit higgledy-piggledy around that. Tyler French as well.
Yeah. And
Charlie Waller. But then Kirk, Sidge, Jack Wardham. There's kind of 4 positions who could go, like a Coley could come in if Harris, when Simpa's fit. I reckon Simpa will be a shoe-in again because he was just so good, pretty consistent at the start of the season. But that kind of attacking line, that Nadazan, Davies, Coley and Sivi, that seems pretty settled at the moment, which is nice to see. It means that when I'm thinking for the lineup, I'm like, oh God, what could we have today? It's more like, okay, we'll have that threat on the flanks. We'll have that kind of link up between Davies and Nadazan through the middle. It's just about who fits in around that. And I was pleasantly surprised by the team when it came out.
Good. There's a couple bits there, some I was going to talk about later, but first one was a nice easy one. Someone had mentioned how comes we've got Dylan on an international call-up and we don't get to call the game off for internationals. I think it's like 3 or 4 you need to be called up, so that's not going to happen for a while. You mentioned the Rochdale game.
Yeah.
I've had conversations, people were talking at me, but about how comes we don't make a bigger thing about how well we're playing. And I was sent our goal from Rochdale, and I know John Meaney tweeted it and I retweeted it. And yeah, I described it last week. I described it last week because obviously all I see is like the ball fired into Davis, who shoots, the keeper saves it, and it rebounds out to Edwin and Edina, and he scores. And it's like that's kind of all I've seen in the goal. It's like no, it's a 22 pass move. Now, in fairness, a lot of the passes I was saying, yeah, but everyone in the stands is going to be going, get it forward. No, get it forward. No, get it forward. Get it forward. But it was beautiful. There was lots of lovely movement on the ball, off the ball. They were making space. They were all confident. But what I was explaining is we don't see that. When you're passing the ball across the face of the goal to someone with a defender, with an attacker coming at them, you just see the panic, the pure, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? So I think there's a little bit of I think what we're seeing watching the game and what they're actually trying to do. Because when you watch it back knowing the score or something, you do get to notice a lot more about what's happened without the fear of how's this going to score.
So it's a work in progress, Mike.
Yeah, shut up. I think that might have been my fault as well. But the first half, we were much more on the front foot. We obviously, as you said, Maidenhead aren't as strong as some of the teams we've played recently. So we were much more lively. We had chances. I was taking a little mick out of Josh afterwards, and because his daughter said he's going to score 2 goals, and he didn't. And I said, well, what's that? And he said, well, actually, I should have scored about 3. so yeah, you shouldn't have. But then his daughter did chime in with something I wish I'd recorded, and she's 7, and she chimed in, "But we won." I was like, "Oh my god, I want that as a little voice note so I can play it when everyone's moaning. I can just go, but we won,
But we won, yeah.
but we won, but we won." But yeah, we had chances, and we eventually took the lead to a reasonable goal. Would you say?
Nice goal. Again, it was a really nicely worked goal, and it was coming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You could definitely see that. You could definitely see it was much more attacking. How were you feeling? Were you feeling that we could have had 3 or 4 here, or do you think we were going to rue the chances?
No, because I think we actually looked a bit more threatening. I just don't think the ball was falling for us quite nicely. And doing comms, I mean, Cam are quite both obviously Sutton, but we have to keep relatively impartial. But every time that ball came forward, and I was on co-commentary, I was like, oh, that's like, it's actually really nice football. And there wasn't a player on that pitch who I could say, yeah, they're not adding to this. Sivi looked like a threat down that left-hand side. It took him a while to get into the game. Yeah, a lot of the movement was coming from French to Coley to Davies to Nadezan on that right-hand channel. But once they started to get Wadham and Sige and then Sivi into the game with Waller as well, that's when we started to look like we were going to score about 20th minute onwards. And when Sivi he's starting to, when he's on it, he's starting to remind me of David Ajiboye at points. Just because he takes on a player and he often gets past them. He's not as small and kind of tricky. And, you know, I think because he's taller, I think Dave was more likely to get fouled. And a bit like Stephen McKenna. But he's strong, is Jeremy Sivi. And that maybe is a good thing because it keeps the move alive. Whereas sometimes we could have got hacked. Stephen or David would get hacked down for fouls and they would the move would stop. But you know, that turn of pace, it's not even like, it can be a bit of trickery, but normally it's just slow things down and then the acceleration off a standing start is where he's strong. Good ball in. Will Davis had a difficult first 15. There was a bit of an argument between him and Josh in the first 15, and I was trying to listen to what they were saying. I just found that interesting because I thought we had a pretty good first 15 minutes, but Will was like, "You've got to play it into my feet," because he said, "I'm useless." It was something along the lines of, "I can't get into the game unless you play it into me and I can flick it on." And they started doing that and it worked. But they were probably like, it wasn't like an angry thing, but it was like, we're not going to do anything if we don't do this.
Yeah.
And it was a good goal. He laid it off nicely and it was a really good goal really well taken from Finlay. And he was excellent that first half, making things happen. That midfield was probably the strongest I've seen that midfield since August.
Yeah.
Really, like Sige, so like playing that role that I'd watched highlights of him at Aveley last season, just so strong on the ball and just so composed. There have been points this season was been a bit haphazard and then losing it, but just taking out Sivi, playing the ball into Will Davis. It was nice to watch. Jack Warden was excellent, keeping that press up along with Will and Ashley, playing in. Like, I was trying to figure out the formation. I said it was a 3-5-2 at first, and I was like, it's actually closer to a 3-4-2-1 because Wadham and Nadezan playing off the shoulder of Will Davis. Then it ended up being a 4-3-4-3-1 going forward, but those two could actually drop back and get involved. And actually, what I found interesting, and we'll talk about the penalty shout in a minute, I'm sure it's queued up, but when defending, Nadezan and Davies switch because I don't know why they do that, but Will Davies goes back to help the defensive effort, and Nadezan's the lone man up top. Maybe that, and sometimes it's Josh Coley. Maybe that's because Nadezan and Josh are quicker. And if there's a ball that goes forward, who do you want chasing it, Will Davies or Josh Coley? Probably Josh Coley. And who's more likely to get past someone? Josh Coley.
It's probably because they send him back because he's younger. Like, you do the run.
I've been here for a year. You've got to get seniority.
Yeah.
No, it was a really good performance, and the goal was very much deserved. But it could have, I'm sure Josh said, but it could have been 2 or 3. When the ball came in from the free kick, it came to him a bit suddenly, but you've got to get it on target. Josh's shot from just inside the area, literally, I reckon if you just hit it either side of the keeper, you're getting a palm to Ashley or Will, but you hit it straight and low, and it just meant the keeper could get it to safety. But it was a well on goal. Finlay was excellent, and yeah, I'd hoped that we might get another before half time, but they woke up for about 5 minutes after it.
Well, yeah, this is one of the other things. Is obviously people react to the scores, people react to the full-time result. But I think a lot of people forget there's another team out there who are also trying to win the game and stop us doing things. So it's like we're not going to get everything our own way because there's other people out there trying to stop us from doing this. You mentioned the penalty. Talk us through your view of it because you would have had a better view than me.
Well,
The possible penalty
for them or for us?
For us.
For us, so the Nadazan one, it wasn't a pen.
Right.
It wasn't a pen. It looked like it, and I can see from how the home end it would have looked stonewall. It was very light, very soft, and it's clever from Ashley. It's exactly what a striker should do in that situation because he was forced out wide, and he'd have to do a pretty amazing finish, either chip it over the keeper or go around him to try and get there somewhere. It is a touch, but it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing that warrants it. And then the other end, I'll be honest, the other end I didn't say yes. And initially I was like, that's going to be a pen. And so was Cameron. And I was like, but then I realised it is shoulder to shoulder. And I think Will was just a bigger guy compared to their left back. And their left back's quite small. I think he's younger, quite a lot lighter. And Will Davis is a beefy centre forward. And I think it just made it look worse. And the Maidenhead fans were very unhappy. And then there was the whole pause.
No, didn't notice.
I couldn't believe it. And and I'm sure there's very few, but for all the National League TV DAZN viewers, mine and Cameron's suggestion of the guy with the tabard and the high vis coming on the pitch with a camera. No, it wasn't coming on for a camera. It was to deal with the Maidenhead fans and their dislike of the bald being important in this moment of the assistant on that far side. We were dead confused because there was literally no communication.
No,
the referee didn't make it clear what he was going on because when you go over to talk to a referee, it looks like you're consulting whether it's a penalty. And when we found out 3 minutes later, when we saw Tim coming over, we were like, because you don't have the club vice president coming across the pitch for a penalty.
Well, he's the safety officer as well. So yeah. So that's why he was in that role. So it's not just the vice president, but he. So we'll talk about that a bit because I've had a bit of conversation with a couple of different people, and they said that the club overreacted by sending extra people. It's like, well, we didn't. The referee spoke to the linesman, and like you, we were like, that definitely wasn't a penalty. They're surely not calling it back for that penalty a minute ago or whatever. But then when the referee goes over to talk to the bench to get the head steward, Lyle, I think Lyle was acting it today, and the safety officer saying, okay, this is what's happened. Then that's the point where you then have to go get more people involved. And it then came out that apparently, this is I think what the Maidenhead fans were saying, as all they did is called him a bald what's it. But you then wonder, hang on, is that it? Because that's all that you guys are saying it was, but I think he's probably heard something completely different then.
I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, I said this to you yesterday, but there was some not lovely scenes in the halftime break where we were watching just some people trying to fight the police outside because they got kicked out. And there was some considerable discussions with a large portion of about, I'd say, 60, 70 Maidenhead fans surrounding stewards and talking to them. And it was just very odd. I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was just that phrase, because obviously I'm both of those things, but you'd expect, especially if you're a linesman, you'd have heard it before. It's not going to be the first time you've ever heard that. Yeah. So I can't imagine him actually doing it for that. I can't imagine the referee going, right, well, we'll stop the game and we'll get someone over to do it. So I'm thinking there was something else, or what the linesman think he heard was something else, and then the referee might have thought something else, and so on and so on. But yeah, you're quite right. It was a bit mad. But then when you get other people escalating it by charging over, going, no, all he did was this, that, and the other. I've said it many times. If I'm standing here, I could probably hear 30, 40 people around me. I'm not going to hear what someone said way over there because there's too much other stuff going on. So, but who knows? Right. So second half, Steve said we kind of went off a little bit. A lot of people have said it. As I alluded earlier, I didn't ever think we were in actual imminent danger. I thought we were quite controlled of the game, and I did think that maybe if they did start to come back into it, we had another step up as well. But what were you feeling in that second half?
Yeah, you said exactly as I thought. I never thought they were particularly threatening. I thought we'd taken the game into a lower gear, and I think we could have asserted our dominance on it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
With the way they changed the game, they tried to make it more. We slowed it down. They were trying to speed us up, and I think we didn't use many subs, and I think we got a little bit tired. But I don't think we made mistakes. We were all right. We could have had another. There wasn't many chances, but going forward, we didn't look terrible. To get at the back, we didn't look bad. Jack Sims had very little to do. It just, I think it was literally 2 years ago to this day, we played a game against Rochdale at home, and Will Randall scored from a corner. And it reminded me of that game midway through that second half, because I remember it was just a cold day that day, and it was nothing. It was such a bad second half. We scored in the first half, and literally nothing happened. They didn't look threatening. We didn't look threatening. The game just petered out, and it just seemed like that. They tried to kind of huff and puff and didn't have much to success, and we were pretty happy just to come forward, but there wasn't much conviction with that, and that's something to work on. But the passing was still nice. We seemed pretty comfortable. Bit stop start, no problem. A win's a win.
Yeah, but we won. So Steve kind of was saying that maybe we had too much control of the game, and that was part of the reason we kind of felt, okay, we can relax a little bit. You mentioned Finlay got man of the match. Did make me laugh because I'm seeing him there with his man of the match award, and I'm thinking, are you allowed to drink yet? I'm not entirely sure if he's 18. I don't know. I was sitting there, I don't know how old you are.
He's 19.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay, then that's fine. Then he can have it. But Steve made also a couple other points. The thing about the work in progress, I think, was possibly because I saw it elsewhere, so it's gone elsewhere. But people brought up the fact of it. Okay, we've been together for a while now. We need to stop talking about a new group. But yeah, I was reminded in my conversations that yes, we're trying to do different things. We're changing not just the players. We change the style of football. We're changing the whole sort of ethos of the club. So things are going to go a little bit slower. You mentioned them both earlier, and he mentioned them as well. Josh and Jeremy playing in slightly different positions to what they're used to, but then saying if it works as we expect to work, they're basically playing as wingers anyway. But what do you think about their sort of attacking wing back?
And I might piss off some people here, but I'm going to say it. Go back a year ago today and think of the football we were playing. I think of the Josh Coley we had. Mm-hmm. We may be in a lower league, but we were sat bottom of League 2 by miles with not even 10 points on the board. Now, I know I wouldn't argue there's much difference between League 2 and National League. Maybe size of clubs and stuff like that, but I don't think there's much difference in quality of football. There are some very good teams in National League. Forest Green, York, we both come up against. And to get a 2-1 loss and a 2-2 draw, Forest Green on another day could have been a win for us. Same with York. Mm-hmm. We didn't play badly. The games we've lost, like Boston and Dagenham, arguably the easier games. Boston, they haven't had a great time since then. I think they've only won once since we played them. If not, they haven't won at all. So I think we've had our struggles. We're playing nice football. And the Josh Coley from last season, Matt, the way he played, he wanted his wingers to play the way that Jeremy and Josh play now. Mm-hmm. And that's what Will Randall and David and Enzio all did 2 years prior. Amari and Josh weren't those players. They were offensively minded players. Steve Morison's revolutionised Josh Coley's style of play. And I have to say it because I'm not one to give loads of managers credit. I'm very much a fan from a fan point of view, but he's leaps and bounds, but so much more versatile and so much more confident in the way he plays. And I heard people last year, like Josh Coley, I don't know why he keeps getting to game time. Without him in the team, there's no spark down the right-hand side. No. He's a backbone of that team. He's critical. And, Steve stuck with him. We saw it in flash at the end of last season, that goal against Forest Green, the game against Swindon. We've seen excellent moments from him, and now it's consistently week in, week out. He's causing problems, and he's defensively sound. He's playing, and they're playing as they're meant to play as wingers. Against Birmingham, Jeremy Sivi and Josh Coley, Sivi was mainly playing as a left wing back. Yeah, he had his work cut out. He was using that physicality. Josh is a scrappy player. He will get involved in those physical battles. Yesterday they didn't have much to do. They were very happy. And what ended up happening, if we were going back, is Charlie and Tyler just drop back, Kirk a little bit further back, and then it would be that Sidge and even Jack Wardham, even playing as like an attacking midfielder position, would drop back, and then you still have Sivi and Coley on the wide positions. But in some games, they're going to have to play as a deeper role because you're going to have better teams than Maidenhead. Halifax, if the game goes ahead, will be one of those. But the game after that, Solihull Moors at home. Solihull are a good team. I know they put 6 past Ebbsfleet yesterday, and Ebbsfleet aren't really, what the standard yet, but they are a good team. There's a reason they were 1 kick away from League 2 last season and only got picked by the team who shall not be named. But they will be a good team. They'll be interesting to see because in the game against Braintree, they played further up. Birmingham, they dropped back a bit. Rochdale, they pushed a bit further up, but Rochdale were better and we got a bit unlucky with a deflected goal. It's excellent to see them both start to feel comfortable. And it's clear that there are 2 starting wingers. Dylan, I have a feeling, is now looking at an impact sub role. And even I think he could be a potential Jack Wardham kind of player, playing as that attacking role. But he said, we'll take Sivi and Coley off. I look to take them off every game.
Yeah.
And that will likely be for Nana and for Dylan. But Charlie Waller pushed up and played left back. Played where Jeremy played. And he was excellent. He was pretty good. No. And he's an attacking minded player. And the whole point is that you said it, the ethos. We're playing attacking football. We're not playing hoof it up along to Harry Smith and hope someone is on the end of it. We're playing football which creates chances, not the hoping chances or capitalising on mistakes. There weren't many mistakes in that Maidenhead team yesterday. There weren't many misplaced passes. The good football came from us rather than us capitalising on errors. And that's, I think, and this might be an outrageous take, that game against Altrincham sold us a little bit of false hope.
Do you know what? I literally thought that, and I thought, yesterday, I was like, how can I word this? That the Altrincham game was probably the worst thing that we could have done at that point of the season.
Especially for the fan base.
Yeah, if we scrapped it 1-0, it would have been a lot better than an absolute hounding because expectations went from, I'm not sure, to that's it, we're going to win the league, win the Champions League, put us in the World Cup, we'll win that as well.
Yeah.
So
that Wealdstone game was a barometer.
Yeah.
Barometer. Mike Albiera, I remember that game. He was on fire. He was causing problems for our defence. It was a scrappy goal from Charlie Waller, but we ground out the win. It's a hard place to go away from home. And Altrincham would die on that day. They're ahead of us in the table now. They were awful. All the goals, penalty, mistake. Josh Coley, bad pass out. Jaden Harris press. Jaden Harris pressed to get the Will Davies goal. And then the only goal, which I could confidently say was from like an actual really good bit of play, was Ladison's in the second half. Really good ball in, really good, yeah. Like marked by 2 players. The other 4 were all Altrincham mistakes. And actually, that Maidenhead result is one of our best, although the second half wasn't enthralling and we weren't as good in the first half. That first half performance is one of the best we've had this season. That York performance, we didn't get the 3 points. Brilliant. Forest Green, we were pretty good. They were just better. And we've just got to realise that I think, and this is even, for me to say this, I know people have been longer fans than I have, we are, to be like, we're 11th in the National League, it's not bad.
No.
It's really quite good. And this young squad, this fit young squad, as the game's getting faster and faster, that will come into our advantage. And we'll start to look towards those playoff places. We're not far, 4 points. That's all it is. And then you're there.
We're having what some people are describing as it's a bad season, it's terrible, we're really inconsistent, and we're 11th. So it's like, okay, well, if we're doing that when you think we're playing badly, just imagine when it does click, because I've been saying for a while, after Christmas, it's going to be an amazing run. But Maidenhead, you've said it a couple of times, and it's been said that they didn't offer much, and they didn't even have a shot on target, I saw one person say. And I was like, don't we get a little bit of credit for that ourselves, because we didn't let them do much? You've mentioned the midfield pressing them down. You've mentioned everyone dropping back when they needed to. So, yeah, they didn't have a shot on target, but we stopped them. We stopped them from doing it. They might be a limited side. I don't know. I've not seen enough of them. But we didn't let them play. But, yeah, I mean, it is difficult because obviously you get frustrated if the result doesn't go your way. Straight away you're like, oh, it's the worst in the world. But we have to kind of respect that, as you said. Love Matt to bits. totally different character to Steve. But then the football, totally different character as well. And you can come away from some games going, okay, we lost, but I enjoyed that. The Birmingham game, we went toe to toe for Championship side. They're in League One now.
Well,
but
they're
they were
Championship quality.
Yeah, absolutely. There were over 30 million in the summer and 15-ish million on one player. I'm not entirely sure we spent £15 million on players in our entire existence. So it's like, okay, let's get some perspective here. We've done really, really well.
I think if we've spent 10 million on players in our entire existence, I think that's like the pitch we played on was 2 mil. So what's that? 2 over 15, something like that. Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
and the grass was too long. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the grass was too long. But yeah, it always could be better. There's no point. You're not going to ever say, right, that's the most complete performance ever. And again, talking to John before the game, it's like if every single player on our team did every single thing right all of the time, they wouldn't be playing for Sutton United because no player can do it right all the time. You've got decisions to make, split decisions. I've pretended to play left back and right back, and as the ball's coming towards me, I think, I should go this way or that. Oh, fuck it, he's gone past me. So it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And these guys are doing it all the time, split decisions. So, I really genuinely think we're going to go on a big run. And I think a lot of these players do need the support, and they've been clear that people have said that. And there was a fly, that's why I waved my hand across. I saw. And Steve said something, and again, you don't really think it. It's a bit of a funny thing to sing and all the rest of it, but how shit must you be because we're winning at home? And he said, I could do without that. He goes, how's that supporting the players? Yeah, I mean, I get it's a bit of a laugh and a bit jokey going, you must be rubbish. But I do get his point of get that in the bin. We're supposed to be here supporting the players, not saying, we're shit, but you're shitter. What's your take on that?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree completely. I don't want to give time to the people who sing it, because I know there are people who aren't a fan of Steve. There are people who love Steve. I know there's lots of different opinions on the way we play, players, the manager, the club, the way the direction is happening. I honestly, frankly, at this point, I don't care. I care about the club going forward and playing good football, the players enjoying the football and being proud to represent the club that we love. And as a fan base, being united in the fact we want our club to do well. And if we get a win, it's a win. If we score a goal, it's a goal. It's not a goal. It's not a win. But we only scored one. But we scored one. They scored 0. It doesn't matter. Man City win a treble. How many games do they play? And they're like, they're going to score loads today. And it's like Bournemouth at home. They think they're going to put an Erling Haaland scores a goal in the 4th minute. No more goals. It's play the ball around. Yeah. Does it matter? But no, City, and they're like, you're all you care about money. Yeah, but they made the money work. Man United have the money. Chelsea have the money. It doesn't matter. It's just that they're all supporting their club, and I don't want to hear. No, I didn't hear the chant during the commentary, but I'm like, just support the team.
It's an old thing. It's support the team. There are certain things like we love just a small pub team from Surrey because that's mocking the other team. We're going, you're in the same division as us. Okay, like Bradford, love mocking them because they think they're a great club and they were in the same division as us for 3 years.
Bradford, Swindon, Oldham, all of them. Yeah,
so okay, you might be saying we're shit, but you are in the same division as us. So what does that make you? But yeah, I was going to have one more thing. The event after the game, I didn't see you in it. Supporters Trust and Supporters Club did a combined event. I hope people enjoyed it. There's a big difference between the two. The Supporters Club obviously do like the coaches. Supporters Trust have slightly different things. So it's worth being a member of both. I was doing some calculations and I still can't work it out because it's a £5 a year membership for the Supporters Trust or £140 lifetime. And I'm sitting there going, hang on, I'm 50 now. Let's just do this calculation of it.
£5 a month.
£5 a year. £5 a year, so it'll be 28 years. So it's like, I've got to think about it.
These cold evenings watching Sutton will keep you along going, Mike.
But yeah, it was great. And then the players came in, Steve came in, the coaches came in. There was a lot of interaction between people. My favourite, I'll probably tell you in a second because we're going to move on to the good, bad, and the funny. But there was just a great evening, and people made lots of time to talk to everyone. It was funny that Steve was there saying hello, and he was up on the stage, and they kind of just said, "Oh, now we're going to hear some words from Steve Morison." They handed him the microphone. He was like, "A question would have been nice." So they just held the microphone to speak. So that was amusing. But yeah, it was great. And so well done to everyone who organised that. So the good, the bad, and the funny. What was good for you?
John Meaney going over to the fans at the end. He really milked that for all it's worth. I like him a lot. I think he's, as much as Steve Morison can be a divisive figure, he just seems like a really happy guy. And he's just like the kind of mix between the kind of rough cut kind of Steve Morison, the really smiley, has hello to everyone, Matt Rose, like the middle. He's got that in him, but he's also got the showman in him, which is quite nice.
Yeah, he's not always a happy, nice guy.
Oh no,
and it's one of the conversations, and it started with, "I'm riled, Mike. I'm riled," and I'm like, "Oh man, I should never have answered the phone." But no, he's a diamond. He's felt, not pressure, that's the wrong word, but he has felt that the team isn't getting enough credit, and a lot of the things I've been saying today is from the conversation with him going, actually, yeah, I didn't think about it like that, because we think that the players are just there to rock up and play, and we don't really think about how they're taking it when people are doing those chants or putting things out on social media saying so-and-so shit or we played rubbish. So yeah, he is a diamond. So I enjoyed that as well. But my good was the football was very impressive in that first half. So the bad, I'm going to steal the behaviour of the Maidenhead fans. Obviously, don't know what sparked it, but there was no need for it to escalate. It could easily have just went. I mean, if they'd left it as it was and two people got thrown out by all that security and stewards, they could quite rightly say that was a bit excessive. But then if they're all getting involved, it's like, well, it's not excessive anymore because you've all now got involved. It was actually the right thing. So, that's going to go with my bad. What's yours?
It's actually quite a good day, so I'm trying to think. I feel like almost my bads are travel related, so I'm going to keep it going.
No, it was cold.
All the trains got cancelled.
No,
because as much as the cold was bad, it was character building. So it's part of the experience. I feel like if it was a hot summer, I prefer the winter matches to summer matches anyway.
All right, fair.
I think they're bad. All the trains got cancelled, and I had to go on a really long-winded route home involving at least 40 minutes on the district line.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
What was your funny about the day?
Me and Cameron on comms had a 2-minute conversation on the style of clothing Steve Morison wears. I think that was quite enjoyable because I was. Hang on. What do you mean?
For who?
well, hang on. I said I could do with investing in an Arsene Wenger style coat.
Right.
And I said, do you think Steve Morison would ever wear a coat like that? And the camera's like, I'm not sure. He always looks like he's on the verge of summer, autumn. Like the white shoes, the sweater, but he never looks cold. And I was like, what's Alan Devonshire wearing in a flat cap? I said, are we just being a bit complaining? And it's not actually that cold. And the camera was like, because nothing was happening, but they were just punting the ball forward and backwards. And then the camera was like, no, Joe, it's actually under like 6 degrees. So we have right. And then we realised someone was attacking it, and the camera was like, oh, sorry, can they forward the ball?
Back to the game.
Back to the game. And we were like, I was just musing about the weather for a good 2 minutes. That's the best bit about giving co-commentary. I love it.
Yeah.
Because you don't actually have to say things, but I just like, Cameron was doing some nice bit of analysis, and I chipped in, and I was like, 2-minute pause, 2-second pause. I was like, I need an Arsene Wenger style coat. And I was just like, let's make this interesting.
Let's move on there. Yeah, Steve, I mentioned his trainers for the Birmingham match. I saw him and I said, oh, brand new shiny trainers. And he went, No, they're the same ones I've always had. I'm like, how does he keep his trainers so brilliantly white? He must take them
Yeah,
off.
they are.
He must take
like
them
the
off.
Air Forces, and actually they're gleaming.
Yeah. It's like, you must take them
And
off.
hang on, the other thing is John the analyst. So
Yeah.
he was up on the
Yeah.
the gantry. Oh my gosh, the most beautiful looking hot dog and chips right before the game, which absolutely, like, I forgot to bring my card and I was tempted to get one. I got a Greg's on the way there, but it smelled divine. And he just tucked into it as he was starting the match. And I was looking at it, he caught me looking at me, he was like, he just gave me a thumbs up, and I was like, that looked like one of the loveliest. He just was loving it. Just put it with the camera, just eating it. I was like, you're in heaven right now. You're getting paid to film when you're just eating hot dog and chips. I was like, what a job. But I was like, you're also going to have to analyse this and go through it for the next few days. So I said, you deserve it, mate.
Yeah, we don't talk about John Davis's food taste because he was the one that had that awful breakfast ahead of Wembley. He was in the hotel and he had sausage, strawberries, just a random. And he literally went up to the buffet and he panicked. I think he said he just started picking stuff up and he didn't know what he was doing. But my funny was I was after the event, we're talking to Ashley in the bar, and I was just chatting to him about different things, and then Matthew. No, you weren't there for that. Harry Ransom come over and said, "Oh, Ash, this one wants to talk to you about your miss against Birmingham." And he just went, "He's just said that and all," because I was saying to him, "Are you over it yet?" I said, "You do realise in 30 years you're going to come back to visit and someone's going to mention your miss against Birmingham. Nothing else you ever do at the club. Everyone's going to go, you missed that chance." So, yeah, players getting the fact that they're just going to get grief even in years to come, that made me laugh. So, Halifax. The interview with Sammy is going to come in here now. And now we come to the Free Q preview, and I'm delighted to be joined by Sammy, who has been very patient with me because this is the second time we've done this. We're doing this ahead of the weekend's round of matches, so if we've both had brilliant victories and we don't refer to it, don't worry about that. It's just the way it's gone. Sammy, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your supporting history of Halifax?
Absolutely, yes. So I'm from Halifax, born and raised, and I've pretty much been following Halifax since I was a baby. My dad took me to my first game when I was less than a year old, so it's pretty much been a big part of my life since I was born. My dad is also the club historian. He's written a few books about the history of the club, so it's pretty much in the DNA. There was no getting out of it really for me. But I think I took more of a keen, active interest in the sort of last 10 years or so, which, you know, for my sins, it's not the prettiest football to watch, but it's nice to be involved, I guess, in a proper sense of community, that kind of feel that you get with non-league clubs. So yeah, it has its ups and downs, but yeah, on the whole, I think I enjoy going to watch them.
Lovely. And you do a podcast as well, as you were telling me, a solo career as a podcaster.
Yes, so last year, myself and one of my old school friends, Matthew, we decided to set up a podcast because every time we meet up with each other, we always go on, 2-hour, 3-hour spiel about Halifax Town. And we thought, you know what, why don't we start a podcast? So we started that last season, did it for the whole of the season. We started it this season, but Matthew is a very busy bee, so couldn't really put the time into it. So it's just me now, pretty much. I've not done much recording of the podcast recently. It's not as fun, kind of just talking, doing a bit of a monologue. But we do have a Substack as well, which is like a newsletter blog kind of thing where I write match reports, match previews, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's interesting to actually, do a bit of the research behind the teams that we're playing rather than just turning up to a game not really knowing anything about them. So yeah, adds a little bit of more fun to it to compensate for the quality of the football.
And I'm a big supporter of the Her Game 2 movement. Do you get the lovely comments that you're only in it for to meet people, or you're just a girl just supporting football? Because obviously going to watch this level of football is clearly a choice that anyone's going to make just for the likes. Do you get that as well?
Well, to be honest, we operate in very small circles. I think the Substack's got about 27 subscribers. I think I do it more for the enjoyment of it rather than to actually get a big following. So I do have a tote bag which has our logo on it, which I
Oh.
parade around when I go to football games. But yeah, it's a very small, humble project, I would say.
We'll get more. Don't worry. Um, so
Fingers crossed.
coming into the season, what were your hopes and expectations for the season? How did that align with the fan base generally, with forums and Twitter and whatnot? And how has it gone so far?
So I think last season we made the playoffs just about. I mean, we took it right to the last game in order to secure that spot. And I think at the start of the season, I didn't expect to get there. I don't think many people did. I think every season we just want to stay up. Like we just don't want to be in a relegation battle. We never expect really to finish top of the league or even in the playoffs really. Like we're very sort of middle of the road, I'd say. But the fact that we actually managed to secure a playoff spot last season, we had a lot of issues with our pitch towards the back end of the season. We had to go and play a lot of home games on neutral ground because our pitch was just destroyed, and that meant that we were playing a load of fixtures in the space of like a fortnight. I think we were playing once every 2-3 days for a fortnight, which was like quite intense really. So the fact that we got that playoff spot secured was a miracle really. Was short-lived though because Solihull Moors did a number on us unfortunately. But yeah, I think that sparked a lot of optimism for this season. And I think people very much are just wanting more of the same, just see if we can get playoff spot. I don't think anyone necessarily expects it, but we know that we're capable of it, especially with a lot of the challenges that we face. So yeah, I think how things are going so far, I mean, we're in a pretty decent spot. I think we're eighth at the minute, which I don't understand how because we've not had a great run of results recently. I mean, we did win our last game, but we had a couple of back-to-back defeats against local rivals, which is always disappointing. But yeah, I think there's potential. There's just something missing, and I think once we find whatever it is that's missing, we should hopefully at least finish in the top half of the table, and if we're lucky, get a playoff spot again. But who knows? You can't tell what's going to happen in this league.
No, it's not called the Bastard League for no reason. So what do you see at this point of the season, your main sort of strengths and weaknesses, and who is it that kind of we should look out for that you lot are going, yeah, get the ball to them, get the ball to them?
To be honest, we don't really have that standout player. About 10 years ago we had Lee Gregory and that was our main man. But we don't really have, I mean, we just got Billy Waters back on loan, who played for us a few seasons ago before going off to Wrexham and then being loaned out again. So he's with us till January, and he's sort of, I guess, on paper our main man, but he's scored a couple of goals, like that's his job, that's what we expect him to do, but he's not quite, I think, performed to what we expect from him. But in terms of other strengths, I guess defensively, traditionally, we were last season one of the best defenses in the league. This season, we've been a little bit off it with set pieces. We conceded 2 against York in injury time a couple of weeks ago, which were both from set pieces, and it was just very sort of clumsy, disappointing. Don't think I'm over it, to be honest. But we never concede a lot of goals. Like we always make up for it at the other end. We never have a massive like goal deficit. So I guess we're pretty good at keeping tight, keeping things pretty evenly matched. We never really get hammered, although we did get hammered last night against Middlesbrough under 21s in the National League Cup. But I think that's probably because it's the National League Cup and we don't really care about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say at this point what our strengths are, because what I would expect the strengths to be from last season, we're just kind of a bit shy of it. But we've not really had any disasters. Like we're not a team that you're going to put 7 goals past. Like you might score a couple, but we'll probably get one at the other end. So it's not an easy 3 points, I don't think, for teams who play against us.
So not if you're up in 8. If you listen to some of our fans, we've had a disastrous season. I think we're 13th. It's like we're bang in the middle of the table where we should be, but So, how do you see the Sutton match going? I mean, I don't know, have you researched us yet for your Substack, but how do you see the game going? What do you think could be the key battles?
To be honest, I haven't really delved into Sutton, unfortunately, because it's not on my radar yet. We've got Yeovil before then. But I go into every game with the same mindset. Like, I never think this is a guaranteed 3 points, because we beat Barnet the first game of the season, who were one of the favourites. And then we're losing to, like, I don't know, Braintree, who were pretty low down. So it's like, what can you predict? It's just impossible. You just don't know what's going to happen. But I feel like it will just be very much of the same as what we've seen so far. I think it will be an even contest, I'd say. We're at home, which I guess we have that advantage. So yeah, I think I can't see us being outright favourites, but I also can imagine that you guys will probably give us a game, but I don't know. That's all I can say at this point.
Perfect. Well, you said it's impossible to make a prediction. See if you can guess what my next question is going to be.
Well,
What is
it'll
your
probably
prediction?
be wrong. I do.
always
So
wrong.
when I do my match previews on the Substack, I do a prediction, and I think I've been right once all season so far. So I don't know. I think it will really depend on how we do on Saturday against Yeovil, because momentum, things like that, contribute to your form and things. But we're off the back of a league win. We'll pretend that National League Cup game didn't happen. I'll go for 1-0 Halifax. I feel like we're on to something. I feel like we're going to beat Yeovil. We're going to beat you. We're going to beat everyone. And yeah, I'm manifesting.
That's I just on the predictions being wrong. I do a prediction league, and I was picking 2-1 for about 50 times, and I was wrong, I think, 60 times in a row. So don't worry too much. No one's going to put much store on what predictions we put here. Thank you so much for squeezing me in, and thank you for all your insights as well. And anyone who's going to Halifax, find Sammy's dad as well. He can talk you through all about the history of Halifax. So we'll get him
Yeah,
and Frankie
he
in the
will
same room.
happily do that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.
And yet another child giving good analysis. She had lots to say about Halifax. I mean, hers is a slightly different story. Her dad is the club historian, and she kind of basically had to go there from when she was baby. So she kind of didn't really have an awful lot of choice in the matter of her falling in love with them. But yeah, she's kind of said again, they had a late run to the playoffs last year, or towards the playoffs, and it's kind of not quite happened again this year, but they're still doing well. But their fans are very much of the opinion of, we might make the playoffs, we might not, who knows, but as long as we're not going to get relegated, we don't care. It's like, that sounds good. Nice. That sounds lovely.
What a fan base.
But what do you think? Assuming the freeze doesn't knock it off, and assuming fans remember to bring cash so they can actually get in and buy stuff in the ground, what do you think is going to happen?
Is it only cash?
It's only cash. Very important. Everyone remembers that. It's cash only.
Wow.
Yes. But what do you think? How do you see the game going? And what do you reckon?
They're not far off us, the 7th. So yeah, assuming it doesn't get called off, I think it'll be a good game. I don't think we'll change much. I don't know why. I'm going to say this now because I really shouldn't admit that I don't know this. I can't remember who played in midfield for us yesterday. Oh, it was Barbrook. That's why. Sorry. No. I couldn't remember who played alongside Sige, and I was like, oh, hang on. I really can't remember this. But it's fine. It's
the guy who scored, yeah.
No. I just forgot. Okay. I think we could. Is Dinder Silva going to be back next weekend?
I think so.
I would be surprised if we might see him, just because I know that Halifax, I think, is slightly an older team. Just like an average age, I think.
Well, everyone's an older team than us because
True, we are. But I think his pace could come in handy. Not saying Jack Wadham doesn't, but maybe. But I think just sticking to our guns. We're better away from home. So they play in blue? So we'll play in yellow. I'm just trying to think. I really want to see the purple kit. I'm missing it.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I feel like it's going to be another commemorative occasion. I don't know what it'll be.
Aubergine kit.
Sorry, aubergine.
Yeah.
No, they should get out for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Barn it away.
Yeah.
No, Aldershot, New Year's Day.
Aldershot, yeah.
Yeah, the 2025, the year of the purple, and then Steve Morison wears a full purple suit.
A coat, a full purple.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. We've got it sorted.
No, I think it'll be a good game. I think I can't. It's so hard to predict.
You've got to predict.
Who will turn up because Rochdale, we weren't the worst. They weren't the better team. We weren't the worst. It was kind of even. We could be excellent. We could be rubbish. It's really hard to predict. It's not like last season where we're going to games with optimism.
I'm going to say we're going to have. I'd say we're probably going to have an unchanged side. There's not a lot you can really say. Actually, I'm going to replace that one because, as you said, everyone contributed. So I unless there's an injury or something, I would imagine it's going to be unchanged.
The only player who I might think might come out, it might be what come in would be Hayden Muller, just because he was very good at the start of the season, and I'm just thinking maybe Kirk for Muller. I don't know. I didn't say Kirk was bad yesterday. I don't think he was.
I think he's been good. Yeah.
He's been good. I don't know. I just think Hayden Muller was very good at the start. Yeah. To get into Forest Green, I believe it was, and he was good. So, and I think Steve trusts him. I think he works well with French. So he might come in, but then again, he might a back three of Harry Ransom, Okoli, and Muller for the game against Solihull was not too shabby at all. Yeah. So you might just rest it and give the unchanged side. Yeah,
exactly. But go on. Let me see if you can keep hold of your 45th out of 45 spot. What's the score line for you? Come on.
So you're going to say 2-1. So
no, I'm not. I've stopped that now. Well, I did it last week, but only because I thought
you've stopped that now. And
I've not done it for a good few weeks now. Apart from the one I genuinely thought would be
2-1 to Sutton.
You're going to go 2-1 Sutton. I was going to go 3-1. 3-1 Sutton.
You're feeling optimistic today.
Absolutely.
It's youthful optimism that carries me through.
Absolutely right. Well,
He's got your fire in all cylinders.
Exactly. He's pumped me up. I need to talk to him going to work every Monday. Come on, John.
Yeah, just wake it up. Your alarm clock. Just a video of John really shouting at you.
Yeah. Right. So let us know. Not let me know. Just join in the prediction league, and there's a little form you can fill in to let me know what you think. I didn't do the league table yet because I've been busy and I forgot. So I will do the league table later on. But we're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you, Joe. We've done remarkably well for just two of us. As always, appreciate your attention and feedback. Get involved with the No Mean No New segment. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received or given as a football fan? Follow, like, and share this episode, Sutton Podcast, on social medias. Subscribe. Give me the thumbs up on YouTube. We are back on Sunday, probably after the Halifax victory, and we will have the thoughts of Jenny and Rory. And as always, thank you to Lucky Star Gin. Thank you to today's panel of Joe. And thanks to the listeners. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sutton Podcast. Take care and we'll catch up soon. Bye-bye.
See you later.
United!